The original Game Boy Advance screen leaves much room to be desired, especially in the dark. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to turn your Game Boy Advance from this to this. There's just a few simple steps and absolutely no soldering, shell trimming, or experience required. Everything you need for this installation is included in the kit. All you need is a working Game Boy Advance. The kit can be purchased at vetrogaming.com, and I'll leave a link in the description. Let's get started. There are 6 tri-wing screws, and then 1 Phillips head screw in the battery compartment. Let's remove some of the loose buttons here. And then there should be 2 to 3 Phillips head screws inside the Game Boy to unscrew. Gently lift up the 2 bails on either side of the ribbon cable to unlatch the screen from the motherboard. Careful not to use too much force with this. Less is more in this case. Now let's get the remaining buttons and loose bits out of the way. And then remove the original screen by gently twisting the shell like an ice tray. And pick one corner to use your thumb as leverage to gently lift the screen out of the shell. Now you can keep the plastic lens if you want, but I'm going to remove it since the kit comes with a scratch-resistant lens. While the Game Boy is out in the open, I always recommend cleaning it with some good 99% IPA and cotton swabs. If you don't have 99% IPA, anything 70% or higher should be fine. Now before installing the backlight into the console, I always recommend giving the kit a dry test to make sure everything functions properly so that if there are any issues, I can still return the kit for a full refund. So grab the 2 ribbon cables that come with the kit. Mine's a 40 pin, so that's the ribbon cable that I'm going to use. So insert the ribbon cable into the PCB and close the tab down to lock it into place. Next, insert the ribbon cable into the Game Boy and close the 2 bails down to secure it. Now grab the LCD and insert the cable into the connector all the way and push the tab down to lock it in. Now I'm going to use the back of the Game Boy shell to slap some AA batteries in to power it on. I'm checking to make sure the screen lights up and that there are no dead pixels and that the brightness sensor tab functions as it should. This thing is in good shape, so let's confidently install it into the Game Boy. I installed the glass lens first, but that is recommended after installing the adhesive gasket so that you don't get fingerprints or anything on it. The side that is thicker goes on the right, and let's get that set in. Now let's use the 2 acrylic spacers and put them on the bottom 2 corners to help align the display. Now before installing the display, I'm going to use some low-tack tape to make sure that there are no dust particles on the lens. I would avoid using the tape on the display, however, because the display is quite fragile and you don't want to damage it. Now it's time to peel off the adhesive film, but don't throw it away. And let's set the LCD into the bottom right of the shell. Use that adhesive film from the LCD and put it on the back of the LCD for insulation. Connect and secure the LCD to the PCB. Secure the ribbon cable to the PCB board and then to the motherboard. Make sure to tuck the brightness sensor away, and then the rest of the installation is quite literally putting the buttons and screws where they were to begin with. So basically watch the first minute of this video in reverse if you need help reassembling. To adjust the brightness, tap the touch sensor, and then press and hold for a second or two to cycle through the black and white and pixel modes. This is quite the upgrade, I would say. Get yours at vetrogaming.com.